When you begin your adventure in Valheim, you'll probably figure out pretty quick that you're going to need protection. 1, from the elements, and 2, from the various creatures that want to make you part of their morning meal. So what's the first thing you do? Well, run of course, but once you're safe, you're going to need shelter. Now initially, a quick and basic hut like this will be more than good enough to sleep and store your things in. You can also take over these abandoned huts to make a quick temporary shack. But once you've gathered a few more materials, you'll probably start to realize that this tiny shack just isn't quite cutting it. So, we'll need something a little more premium. However, before you even start to build your brand new luxury cabin, there's a few things to take into consideration. After all, you don't want to spend all that time erecting a premium penthouse only to find out that the neighbors are a bit questionable. There's some things to consider when choosing a location. Number 1, ideally it will already be naturally flat. Although you may have your hands on a top-of-the-line garden hoe, it does have its limitations, so naturally flat is a must. Secondly, deer and boar are going to be an important part of your diet and will be needed for a lot of the crafting early in the game. So if we can set up next to an area where they naturally spawn, that'll be a bonus. Number 3. The first place where you will venture into after the meadows is going to be the Black Forest. Try to make sure that there's a Black Forest almost within eyesight of your location, but don't set up too close. The Black Forest is filled with dark and terrible creatures that can be very dangerous at this point in the game. If you're too close to the Black Forest, the creatures that inhabit it may see your home as an opportunity to find something to eat, namely you. Number 4. If possible, don't set up in a location that's too far away from water. There's no risk of a tsunami or erosion from the ocean, so don't be shy about setting up next to the coast. Later into the game, you're going to be sailing and bringing back a lot of resources from expeditions, mainly by boat, and lugging all of that loot back for miles back to your home is going to get pretty tedious pretty quickly. So, once we find the location, we'll mark it on our map. The first thing to do, if not done already, is to plant down a little shack. We'll use this as an area to rest and repair our tools. Then, we'll need to flatten a large parcel of land. As mentioned before, make sure this land is already as flat as possible to minimize the amount of work we need to do. Take your hoe and flatten. It's best to stand in the middle of the area and flatten the land all around you to your level. If you get any troublesome spots like this, use the raise ground function of your hoe to fill in the area, then use the level ground function to push that ground back down level. This is the home we will be building today. In terms of 2x2 flooring, it's 7x5 of them in size, excluding the overhang on the right, and will require the following resources to build in full. Approximately 1,060 pieces of wood, 5 stone, 20 resin, 20 leather, 17 deer hide, 25 flint, and if you're lucky enough to find these optional items, 99 gold coins, 2 queen bees, and an additional 20 wood. We'll start the building with the foundations. To lay the foundations, I'll try and find one of the lower areas, and using the 2-meter wood beams, I'll make the 7x5 rectangle. Remember to keep some space on the right for that overhang area. Then, using the 2x2 wood floor, I'll fill in the ground floor. We'll frame the lower section of the house using the 2-meter wood poles and beams. When looking at the house, the first wall I'll build will be the one on the left. Using wood walls, I'll place 2 on the left, 2 on the right, 2 down the middle, and in the empty spaces, we'll put a wood wall half at the bottom and the top. This will leave a square, which will be filled with a 45-degree wood cross. The right wall will be built in almost the same way, but in the center, I'll place a wood wall at the top and a wood door at the bottom. The back will follow a similar pattern as the sides, with crossed windows placed in every other panel. The front will be the same as the back, except just like the right side, I'll knock out the pieces in the middle, and instead of a wooden door, we'll place a wooden gate. This one looks more like a front door to me. To do the ceiling, which will double as the top story flooring, we'll start on the right and fill it in with 2x2 wood floors. When we get to the end, put 2 floors in the back, 1 in the front, leaving a gap. This will give us enough room to place 4 sets of wood ladders, which will lead us to the top floor. The top sections of the walls on the left and right will be made the exact same way and will make up the shape of our roof. 45-degree wood wall on either side with a full wood wall next to each, a 26-degree wood wall on top of each full wood wall, a wood wall half in the center at the bottom, at the very top a 26-degree cross, then fill the last gap in the center with a 45-degree wood cross. Then just do this for the other side. The roof will be constructed of 45-degree thatched roof on the bottom rows and 26-degree thatched roofs on the top rows. The very top will be filled in with the 26-degree thatched roof ridge, but leave out the very centerpiece. We'll get to that in a second. Heading back downstairs, take out the very center floor piece and use 2-meter wood poles to build a frame going all the way up the center of the house. We'll also remove the center ceiling piece. Once done, fill in all the spaces in between the wood poles with 45-degree wood crosses, leaving out one at the very bottom at the front. A temporary ladder will grant us access to finish the roof. Add some 1-meter high wood poles to the existing wood poles, and make sure you don't forget to fall through the gap, cracking both of your knees to oblivion in the process. Find a way to drag your crippled body back to the roof and place the final 1-meter wood pole. Place a final 26-degree roof ridge on top. You'll need to find the right snapping option by pressing Q on the keyboard until it clicks into the right place. Since our bed needs to be next to a fire in order to sleep, we'll pop a campfire at the bottom of this channel we've created, and the smoke will be guided up and out the house, whilst the campfire is also protected from the rain. The back right corner of this house looks to me to be the perfect place to put down the workbench. Right at the beginning of the game we can craft a tanning rack and a chopping block to upgrade that workbench. And a couple of deer hide rugs underneath will really bring this section together. The opposite side will be left blank for now, as this will leave a space to put the next crafting station we'll be able to make as we progress through Valheim. Under the stairs on the left side of the house will make a great place to put a good bit of storage. To keep it organised and compact, begin framing it out like so with the 1-meter and 2-meter wood beams and the 2-meter wood poles. Once that's done, behind every 2-meter wood beam, place a 2x2 wood floor, and this will give us something to place our storage chests on. A couple of 45-degree wood beams on the ladder edges will make this look a bit tidier, and using a whopping 220 pieces of wood, I'm going to fill in all the available areas with wooden chests. Whilst we're in the house, we'll place 3 cooking stations over the top of the campfire. This will be handy for cooking our food. For those of you that don't know, you can actually make coal early on in the game. Just leave anything that's on a cooking station longer than it needs to be. Simply place, wait, and eventually you'll have coal. This coal can then be used to make signs to label your newly built storage unit. Heading outside and around to the right where the other door is, I'll add 26-degree roofs coming off the wall like so. Placing 2-meter wooden poles on the corners will add some support, but I'll need to switch to the top snapping option to add the bottom poles. Adding these wood beams and the 26-degree wood beams along the edges aren't needed, but they will neaten it up a little bit. And a 26-degree cross at the top to finish it off. If we want to be fancy, we can also add some 45-degree wood beams on either side like so. This will make it look a little more aesthetically pleasing. Currently the front and side doors are a bit difficult to get through, so taking out the beam at the bottom and adding some wooden stairs will make it a lot more fluid to walk through. The final thing for outside will be a bit of a porch area for the front door. I'll start with a 26-degree thatched ridge roof, add a 26-degree cross, and place some support poles down either side. To make the sides look a little nicer, you can use the 26-degree beams to kind of make a bit of a zigzag pattern. I'll also remove the stairs, place a 2x2 wooden flooring, and then put the stairs in front of that. The very last thing to do is to add some standing wooden torches, one either side of our new porch, and I'll also put a couple in the side area that we built just a moment ago. So that's the bottom floor complete, the outside complete. Let's finish the bedroom. As we go up the stairs, I like to add a little handrail at the top of the stairs. A border of wood beams, some 1 meter high wood poles, and a 26-degree wood beam will do the perfect trick. On the other side of the house is where our bedroom will reside. A simple bed in the middle against the wall with a chest at the head and foot for personal belongings, and I'll also add a deer rug just to make the room feel a little bit warmer. That'll do for now. If you are lucky enough to have come across enough gold coins, you can also add a basic table to the side using a 1 meter wood pole and a 1x1 wood floor on top as a place to admire your collected loot. To complete the house, use any remaining wood and border all the windows with 2 meter wood poles and beams. This will make the house have a slightly cleaner look and just bring everything together. The very final thing is an optional thing, but it would be to put beehives, if you found any, on the outside of the house on the left side. And there we are, our completed first home. It's fairly basic, pretty easy, it has plenty of storage, a place to rest after a hard day's work, and an upgraded workbench. I know it does require a bit of wood, but it'll be worth it. The house is big enough that it allows room for a bit of expansion as you progress further into the game, while still being easy enough to build as soon as you start Valheim. I really do hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please leave a like and please subscribe. That way you can stay up to date with more builds, tips, tricks, and a whole plethora of helpful Valheim videos that are yet to come. See you in the next one.